Machine learning is a way of looking at the world, really. You're looking for patterns, and from those patterns, you're trying to draw a conclusion. So given a whole lot of information, you see what repeats and what next likely outcome is, and you try and predict what that's going to be. You're telling the future, basically. Yeah, so a great example of machine learning that everyone's going to be familiar with is your Amazon shopping cart. Essentially, when you buy a certain product, that based off of all the hundreds of other people that have bought that product this year, that are the same age and the same gender as you, they can predict what the next product is you're going to buy, and they're going to try and sell you that product. It's making some very educated guesses based on everything else it knows about you. So who you are, where you live, where you work, where you went to school, it puts all of that information together, and it looks at a lot of other people in very similar situations, and it says, what did those other people do in this situation? And then it recommends something to you that works for those other people. It's not always right, but it's a great educated guess on what you're going to want to do next. It's a valid point, sometimes when you're talking to these large language models or you're generating images, it can be scary what they can do. Definitely AI is going to change the way that we work in that, you don't have to do a lot of these rote, annoying tasks anymore. Like when you're having a Teams chat with somebody or talking to someone about a particular problem, AI can come in and you can just say, hey, read this chat and then make a task with all of the pertinent information. Like that is taking away something tedious that I don't want to do, but it's still letting me do my job more effectively. That's an interesting question. So Google Maps is great in that it puts all of these things together. If you're driving down the road and it knows from other people in front of you that are also on Google Maps that there's a whole ton of traffic in your way, it's simply going to send you a different way. This isn't necessarily machine learning. It just sees that there's traffic in the way and it follows a basic algorithm, a set of rules to say, if there's traffic in the way, send you a different way. Where the machine learning comes in is predicting what traffic is going to be there if it isn't there already. So let's say that road in front of you is completely clear, but it knows based off of all of the data for all those previous days every year that it always gets busy at 5 o'clock. Then that's machine learning to analyze and predict that based off of all that previous pattern, there's likely to be traffic, so we're going to preemptively send you around that route. If you look at almost any industry, there are decisions to be made. Let's take farming, for example. When is the right day to plant the crops? Where exactly do you plant it? Is the spot that you picked getting enough sunlight? Is the snow going to be okay in the winter? These are based off of human intuition and our best guess at looking at previous patterns right now. But if you take something like machine learning, and if you can gather enough data to let it sift through and figure out where the actual patterns are that are hard for the human to see, simply because we don't have time to look through that much data, then you can do really interesting things like it can tell you exactly where to plant that seed to have the most high chance of it growing and being a successful crop. You can take that sort of thing and generalize it to any industry. Where do you put this part so that it'll work perfectly? How many spots do you put in a parking lot so that it'll work perfectly and people can get in and out efficiently? It's just slowly improving the quality of our lives in ways that are hard to see, but they're there. If that was interesting to you, consider the certificate in machine learning. You'll do everything from learning the technologies that you need to make this happen, but most importantly, you'll learn the method of learning and applying this stuff in business context. It's a way to learn more about the world around you and apply those learnings to predict what comes next. It's not just about knowing how to do it today, it's about understanding how to do it tomorrow.